So let's just settle in, try and bring our minds to some kind of state of stillness. And just know that whatever it is you're turning up with this evening, that it is all okay. Let me just, adjust the mic. So let's just go inside a little bit, just turning inwards to that place that is very safely and happily within us, which is this stillness, which is always available to you. And check your posture. Just, sitting in a fairly aligned way does really help things to flow a little easier. The blood on just a practical, physical level, anatomical level, and then also on a little bit more esoteric level, the energies can flow a little bit easier. So I guess it makes this type of meditation that we're doing, which is purification, where we are working with energy, light, and nectar, and visualization and mantra, probably works a little bit better. Apart from what you're doing with your mind, it probably does work a little bit better if you're sitting in a fairly aligned way. Okay, so shoulders are aligned with the hips. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, stretching from the base all the way up to the crown of the head. You can imagine someone's just lengthening your spine, putting some space in between those vertebrae. And if you wish, you can tip the head very slightly forward, just hinge it forward from the top of the neck. Not too far forward. Just put some length in the back of the neck. And relax your jaw. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head. And relax the scalp and the forehead and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth, the jaw, back of the head, back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all your limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And then bring the mind to the breath and just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. So you feel it's a little bit cooler as you're breathing in, slightly warmer as you're breathing out. If there are any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. So try not to go and often investigate with your mind. Just let the sounds be. And then bring the mind back and notice what's arising, what thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations. And try not to judge or have opinions or criticize yourself. Just allow the thoughts to arise and note them just with curiosity, and interest, and maybe even surprise. And perhaps think of that river, sitting on the bank, watching that river. And while you're just quietly watching, taking note, you're free from the river. So let's once again bring to mind all the people of our life. So your friends, spouses, children, family members, the ones we love. These are people we have deep and profound relationships with. And then there's those people in our life who are a little bit more difficult for us. And then there are those people in our lives who are just total strangers. So it's good to keep in mind that the friend, the enemy, and the stranger can change place at any time. And perhaps for some of you who've been doing this for a long time, you may be more aware of that happening, but maybe people who are only just started with us, perhaps there has been an instance in your life where a stranger became a friend. Well, that's an easy one, but maybe someone you didn't like very much became someone that you now really love, and vice versa. So we try and think a little bit more equally towards people. Perhaps think that, and it helps to develop compassion in our heart. So think that they're all equal, these people, in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering, and they all have this unbelievable capacity for this enlightened mind. Even though there's someone that we don't like very much, maybe it's hard to see. It's harder to see for us. You know, those ones we love, we see their brilliance. We see them. We know them. We get them. But the ones we don't like, we choose to ignore that. But they have people that love them. They have a mother and a father and a sister and maybe a lover who sees them. But we just can't. Doesn't work for us. So it's good to remember, even though maybe we don't like them very much, they do have people that love them, and they are wishing to be happy and wishing to be free from suffering. And they do also have a capacity for enlightenment. So I think we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So we start this practice again by remembering there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind. So equally we can turn that around and create positivity with our mind. So we are in control of this, actually. It's up to us. And we have the power to take charge of what goes on in our mind. So sometimes we think we feel too overwhelmed and it's not possible, but actually it is. We just have to have courage and be aware of it. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. So we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of future suffering. And so logically, it makes sense that we would want to pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And so also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and think again, I'm sick of this suffering. So then we think, okay, so what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. We rely upon, we turn to the doctor, the Buddha, who we see as a doctor. And we see this Buddha Vajrasattva, as someone who has the methods that we can use to purify ourselves. And so we're not necessarily asking Buddha to forgive us. We're not wanting a higher power to come along and just kind of fix everything and give us forgiveness and da-da-da. We are purifying ourselves by doing the work ourselves and relying upon these methods. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also imagine this is your teacher, your trusted mentor, your spiritual guide, however you see them, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And you can also imagine that it's because this Buddha is male, so it's in this particular form. So he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus, which, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud. So this is just an analogy for us, our delusions. They're born out of this. Our enlightenment is born out of our delusions, yet I'm kind of not sullied by them. So Buddha's face is radiant and beautiful. It's white. And he has a beautiful eyes, and so the shape of lotus petals. And he has this sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, and this represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood, so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So this is another part of reliance. So the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of someone you've harmed recently, maybe someone in the past, and then maybe in general, anyone you've harmed that you don't actually even remember harming. And then think about those people who've harmed you. And particularly we want to have compassion for these people because the harm they've caused you is going to manifest as harm for them in the future, some kind of suffering. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine, taking the medicine, doing the practice of purification. So we start with the body, and we think that Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and into your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So next is the purification of the speech. And again, Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body, all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the kind of careless speech and lying and talking about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, going along with it. And so you just imagine that all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you and overflowing, quite powerfully overflowing. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempi yatsa sawa kamasata me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So now feel your speech is completely purified, and just imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So just imagine that whatever falls out of your mouth is beneficial to not only yourself, but others around you, even animals and insects, birds. So next is a purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just imagine the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch. That light instantly dispels the darkness. So same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your depression and anxiety and attachment and grasping and neediness, all of this completely dispelled by this mantra and this light. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa savasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anurakta me boa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa sutokaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anurakta me boa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa sipokaya mebawa Anurakta mebawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa sipokaya mebawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of your suffering and the cause of why all of us harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified. And think now there is no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is a purification of imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So imagine that this time Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, fills you completely, and it eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. So just like washing that extra smell of a garlic from a jar, just kind of getting rid of this at this very, very subtle level, negative energy. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa sipokaya mebawa Anurakta mebawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa sipokaya mebawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anurakta me bawa sawa siri mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham P. So now just think you're completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now is the power of resolve. So we make a decision here to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And so we know we're not going to be able to do this all at once. So because we're human and we have habits and we've got layers and layers of habits and habits with certain types of situations and certain types of people. So we just have to work on this slowly, slowly. So think of something that's a problem for you, maybe it's harmful to you or to others. Maybe you have some reactivity, or maybe some negativity arises in your mind when you see a certain person. Maybe you talk about people behind their back. Whatever it is, maybe work on it or become aware of it at least. But maybe just a few seconds a day or while you're sleeping. Something like that. So we slowly we take charge and control of what's going on in our mind and kind of pacify it. Okay, so imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think my guru's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. And next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. So you can think perhaps of all phenomena as being empty. They don't exist from their own side. They don't exist independently. And you can think that perhaps also the way things are appearing to me may not be necessarily the way they actually exist. So just have a little thought about that. We'll just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all these people of your life and to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Oi tub shu chang shin jam gone Galloway, Tenzing kyang pel away, Kunzo dog porze, chog sum kur away leg mom to droop. Dog sog dulje gondu jab tin shog. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindfully of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please live long. And because you share a beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Okay, everybody, thank you so very much for your time, your attention, and your practice that you're doing for yourselves. That's wonderful. And lots of love, and sleep well, and sweet dreams. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you for hosting, Michael, and for our bouncers.
Thank you.
You know